What if I told you that the worst date idea, the one that makes you anxious, sweaty, and terrified, is actually the most powerful way to make a man fall in love with you? Forget candlelit dinners. Forget romantic walks on the beach. The secret to triggering deep attraction has nothing to do with romance at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite of what you've been taught. Psychologists discovered this accidental trick in the 1970s, and it's been quietly used by women who seem to effortlessly captivate men ever since. Today, I'm going to reveal the forbidden psychology that makes his heart beat faster and mistake that racing pulse for love. This phenomenon is called misattribution of arousal, and it's one of the most powerful psychological triggers in human attraction. Here's what happens when your body experiences physiological arousal: increased heart rate, sweaty palms, rapid breathing. Your brain searches for an explanation. If you're with someone attractive during that moment, your brain mistakenly attributes those physical sensations to romantic attraction. Your racing heart isn't saying, "I'm scared." It's whispering, "I'm in love." This isn't theory. This is hardwired into our psychology, and it happens completely unconsciously. The groundbreaking study happened on 2 bridges in Vancouver. Psychologists Donald Dutton and Arthur Aaron had an attractive female researcher approach men on 2 different bridges. One was a terrifying suspension bridge, swaying 230 feet above a rocky canyon. The other was a solid, stable bridge, just 10 feet above a shallow stream. She asked the men to complete a survey, then gave them her phone number in case they had questions. The results were shocking. Men who met her on the fear-inducing bridge were nearly 4 times more likely to call her later. Their terror had been transformed into attraction without them even realizing it. This is the secret that changes everything about how you approach dating. When he's sitting across from you at a quiet restaurant, his heart rate is normal, his breathing is calm, his body is completely relaxed. There's no physiological arousal for his brain to misattribute. You might have amazing conversation, but you're not triggering that primal unconscious attraction response. You're activating his logical brain, not his emotional one. And love, real, deep, magnetic love, doesn't live in logic. It lives in those moments when his body is screaming and his brain is searching for a reason why. So what does this look like in practice? Instead of suggesting coffee or dinner for your next date, propose something that genuinely elevates his heart rate. A roller coaster, rock climbing, a horror movie, even an intense escape room or a spontaneous dance class where you're both slightly out of your comfort zone. The activity doesn't have to be extreme. It just needs to create genuine physiological arousal. When his palms get sweaty and his heart races, he'll look at you and his brain will whisper, "This must be because of her." That's when the magic happens. That's when attraction becomes addiction. But here's where it gets even more fascinating, and where most people get this completely wrong. The arousal has to happen while you're together, not before or after. If he goes skydiving alone and then meets you for drinks, the effect is gone. The timing is everything. His elevated state must coincide with your presence, so his brain creates that crucial association between the physical sensation and you. This is why women who intuitively understand this psychology seem to have men falling for them effortlessly. They're not more beautiful or more charming. They're just better at creating the right emotional conditions for attraction to ignite. Now, let's talk about why this works specifically on men. Male psychology is wired to associate physical intensity with meaning and importance. Throughout evolution, elevated heart rate meant hunting, fighting, or pursuing, moments that mattered. When you trigger that physical state in his presence, you're tapping into millions of years of evolutionary programming. His subconscious mind categorizes you as significant, as someone worth pursuing, as someone who makes life feel more alive. This isn't manipulation, it's understanding the language his nervous system speaks fluently. You're simply becoming fluent in the psychology of masculine attraction. The beauty of this technique is that it works even when both people know about it. One study had participants explicitly told that their arousal was artificially induced by a pill, and it still increased their attraction to potential partners. Why? Because the physiological response is processed by the limbic system, the emotional brain, which operates faster than the rational cortex. By the time your logical mind catches up, the emotional impression has already been formed. The feeling has already taken root. This is why understanding psychology doesn't make you immune to it. It just makes you aware of the invisible forces shaping your desires. Let's contrast this with the standard dating advice you've probably heard 1,000 times. Just be yourself. Build a deep connection. Show genuine interest in his life. All of that is important for a relationship's foundation, absolutely. But it doesn't create that initial spark, that magnetic pull that makes him unable to stop thinking about you. Misattribution of arousal is what creates the spark. The meaningful conversation is what keeps it burning. You need both. But if you're only doing the safe, comfortable dates, you're building a house without first lighting the fire. You're trying to create warmth through logic when attraction requires chemistry, literal, physiological chemistry. There's also a darker side to this psychology that you need to understand. This is why toxic relationships can feel so addictive. The drama, the fighting, the emotional roller coaster, all of that creates intense physiological arousal. Your body can't distinguish between good excitement and bad excitement in the moment. This is why people stay in unhealthy relationships that feel intensely passionate. The chemistry is real, but it's being created by chaos, not genuine compatibility. When you understand misattribution of arousal, you can create healthy intensity instead. Choose activities that elevate heart rate through fun and adventure, not through anxiety and conflict. That's the difference between sustainable attraction and toxic addiction. Here's your practical strategy. Plan a 3-phase date. Phase 1. Start with something arousing. The roller coaster, the hike, the scary movie. This creates the physiological state and the misattribution effect. Phase 2. Transition to something that allows for conversation, but maintains moderate arousal. Maybe a walk through a night market or trying an unfamiliar cuisine together. This lets the attraction simmer while you build actual connection. Phase 3. End with something calming where you can both reflect on the experience, perhaps watching the sunset or sharing dessert. This structure creates the spark, fans the flame, and then allows it to settle into something warm and lasting. It's the complete psychological journey of attraction in one evening. The most powerful part of this knowledge is that it puts you in control of your dating life in a way you've never been before. You're no longer passively hoping that chemistry happens. You're actively creating the conditions for it. You're speaking directly to his nervous system, bypassing all the overthinking and second-guessing that sabotages so many potential connections. This is what confident, magnetic women understand instinctively. They know that attraction isn't about being perfect or saying the right things. It's about creating the right feelings in the right moments. And now you have the psychological blueprint to do exactly that. Remember, this technique is just the beginning. Misattribution of arousal opens the door, but authenticity and genuine connection are what make someone stay. Use this psychology to create that initial spark, to make yourself unforgettable in those crucial early moments. But then, let your real self shine through. The goal isn't to trick someone into loving you. It's to give love the best possible chance to develop naturally by removing the barriers that keep it from igniting in the first place. You're not manipulating emotions. You're creating the optimal environment for real emotions to flourish. That's the difference between a technique and a transformation. Now go create some magic.